Hello traders and welcome back to another market update. My name is Nick, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the currency market to see if there are any potential setups, as well as doing some technical analysis and taking a look at the charts. So let's start out here with Euro USD. You can see here we are on the 4-hour chart, and we've talked recently on the market updates about these double tops that we've seen here along this Euro USD move. Now more recently we have seen price sell off in favor of the downside. You can see we talked also about this trend line that broke downwards, right? Recently we broke through that level and continued lower. But now what we're seeing price start to catch a bounce, and right around the area that we mentioned, which is this area here. We talked about the potential that we could see some sort of a bounce off of this technical zone. This level looking left showed some signs of support, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're seeing price hold that area and catching some sort of a bounce. The question will be, how far can it bounce, and will it indeed continue to the downside overall in favor of this trend? We could draw Fibonacci to get some idea. We could be testing, coming back to test this area here, right? Which lines up pretty nice with that 50% retracement there on the right side of the screen there, you can see. So that might be something to consider if we start to see a little bit more of a pullback there on Euro USD, if we see some short-term bullish strength there. Let's talk about GBP USD next. Continuing to watch this thing channel back and forth. For the most part, we still have this technical analysis point that we talked about, which is this kind of flag pattern here on GBP USD. And for the most part, price still holding that range. Now, if price decides to break up, if we do see a continued jump to the upside, then we could see something where we break, retest, and continue in favor of this overall bullishness on GBP dollar. Let's talk about dollar yen next. Dollar yen here on the daily chart is one that I'd like to look at. Still holding this level of resistance, you can see, but it does look like we are coming into contact with an area of interest, which is going to be this trend line here. It looks like price is getting pretty close to testing this trend line, which is going to be a big indication of which way we go next. Because if price can hold this level, then we may want to come up here and retest a breakout once more, and if price breaks through, then we could see continuation down to another structural level. Something like this area looks really interesting to me, which also probably lines up with a fib. If I draw a Fibonacci retracement here, you can see we're pretty close to that 61.8 area, right in that region there. Let's talk about Brent crude next, which continues to channel to the upside there. We have this kind of pattern going on the move here. This is a 4-hour chart, and you can see price coming down to test this area multiple times and finding support. So we will see if that can continue. And also, if you're a breakout trader, you could watch to see if we can break above that structure high there in favor of the uptrend if you're looking to be a trend breakout trader. Let's talk about WTI crude. Very similar chart, of course. For the most part, these two trade very similarly, and you can see we are not quite at the pullback zone in terms of that trend line there, which is interesting, but we also have that high where if price does decide to get bullish, we could try and test for a breakout there to the high side. Gold is going to be our next pair here. Taking a look at the daily chart really quick, you can see we do continue to channel to the downside here on this pair as well. We have the upper and lower channel there, and you can see for the most part we do kind of have what looks like a bullish flag here, right? We have a bullish kind of flag, the pull right here, and then you have the flag pattern there. Now what that means is that if price decides to break to the upside, then we could very well see some continuation of that trend. But for the time being, it looks like price wants to pull back, and I do think that the location that we might be headed is this 200 period right here. So I think that it's not out of the question that we could see price start to head back to test this 200 period simple moving average, as that is a long-term indicator. And a lot of times the market, you see it retraces and comes back to test that area in favor of kind of either trend continuation or to see if we'll reverse. It's a good way for traders who are watching this market to see if there's still value or if there's still buyers in this market. CAD yen is our next one here. You can see we are taking a look at the 4-hour chart currently. Price is rolling over for the most part. We do have this lower high in this market, which is something to consider going forward. Now, if we take a look at the daily chart, we do kind of have the context of an uptrend here in terms of this trend line. So as price pulls back a little bit more, this level might be an interesting area to look for potential buys in favor of that upward movement that we have seen longer term on CAD yen. GBP CAD is going to be our last one for the day. You can see we've got a triple top potential here, and this is one that I'm watching closely. GBP CAD, if price can find resistance here, we could form a nice little triple top and see some rollover to really kind of break this trend. Now, for the time being, however, we are seeing the price kind of trend higher. meaning that we have kind of this closing of price there. Price is getting tightened up. You can see right there as price gets nice and tight up towards the top. This is decision time for GBP CAD. Are we going to break higher and see some continuation of this upward movement, or are we going to break to the downside? There are potentially opportunities looking both directions if you know how to catch those moves, if you manage your risk, of course, and you find a trade setup that you like. Sometimes consolidation can lead to breakouts, and as a lot of times as breakout traders, we don't want to be asserting which way we think it will go so much as reacting to what the price decides to do. Guys, thank you so much for watching another market update. Make sure you subscribe to the channel down below, and we will see you next time.